give me a push to the upside from here or from under this low. In all the cases, I'll be buying the dollar now as well. And at this and access to our private Slack global trading, one push down will be coming, right? So drop in this one. We've got the drop, we've got this pullback, and then up again. And this was impulsive move. Okay, in terms of trading, we traders, they know how to catch this up wave and how to maximize profits here as well. Okay, so for that, after this up wave, corrective structure up, trend continuation pattern, trend continuation move, trend continuation trade, all the way up to this level. Market actually didn't broke this top. What is this? I mean, is this a double top formation? Probably. We do not trade that, and we do not actually believe on the top chart patterns, double top, triple tops. Why? Because usually we see liquidity above those. But time to time, market makers, they will make sure that they will let you believe that these actually, once these chart patterns are working before the next up wave. Okay? Is this what I'm expecting? Well, we need to really see the structure here, okay? Because if the DXY, back to the DXY, if the DXY will push to the upside, euro dollar will fall more, which means corrective structure here, one more drop first. This is what I can see for euro dollar before any next structure. To the downside to break this low or to the upside to break.
All right, good morning. Can everyone hear me? Sound was bad. All right, let me try this again. Let me unplug it. Let me know now. Morning, Sergey. All good? Okay. All right. I don't know what happened there. All right, let me just quickly shift over. Can you see my screen okay? Because when I look on inside of YouTube, the studio side, it says there's a playback error. So can you just let me know you can see my screen, my chart right now? DUC, you're good. You can see my screen. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Julian, I just asked if you can see my screen. Because when I look inside of, when I'm setting this up through YouTube Studio, It's just saying that this live stream is currently having a playback error. But it looks like everything is set up okay, so I just want to see if you guys can see my screen. Also, it looks like there's quite a lag today. I can tell by the time I ask a question, it's about a 23-second lag from when I'm getting responses. So I don't know why things seem to be not as good as before. Jillian, can you just let me know you can see my screen? Sun flashes? Okay. All right, so you guys can see it. Great, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna get going here. Let me slide over as normal. We'll start with the upcoming economic calendar for the week. Kind of a busy week, although I don't know if anything after the Fed announcement, I don't know if anything really even matters anymore now, but we'll take a look. So Monday, housing market index, that's not a big one. Building permits, nobody cares. Wednesday, existing home sales, consumer confidence, 30-year mortgage rate, it's nothing big. Thursday, you do have GDP, so it'll be the final numbers will come out. So we already had the pre-estimate came in at 5.2. So previous quarter was 2.1, and then the early estimate came out at 5.2. So not unless that 5.2 number changes drastically, everyone knows what to expect there. So GDP won't have much of an impact. And then Friday you do have PCE, core PCE. So now they're calling for exactly the same as last month, 0.2% increase month over month. Let's see, personal income is supposed to increase again. Spending is actually supposed to increase again a little bit too. So I just don't see that being a big, if it does just come in flat. And then actually, if you look at the PCE year over year, they're actually expecting a 2 handle finally. So we were at 3%, and now, they're expecting 2.8%. So actually, I do believe if that comes in at that 2.8, you get that 2 handle going. I mean, it's just going to stir more optimism in the market. So really, the only day is Friday that I really see any data coming out that would really have a big impact, unless there's just some odd number comes out. So we got that. So let's move over to the chart now. Going to start with, this is the futures contract for the S&P ES. And in my video last week, I said that there was one more wave up, because I thought after this running flat that this was 1, 2, and then it looked like 3. So 1, 2, 3. I thought that was 1. They're going to create a diagonal here. 1, 2, 3 down for 2. 1, 2, 3 for 3, and then here was a big 1, 2, 3 for 4, and then it took off. So this is not a diagonal. This fifth wave should have ended right about there, and then made a bigger correction. But they just took off when Powell spoke. So I think then what this is just a big series of like 1-2s. So, you know, like you got 1, 2, then you got like a whole little bunch of correction, you know, so like I think this is 1, 2, and then you got 3. That could be 4 because it came down in 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. And so now they're going to go up for a 5th wave, or maybe this will come down one more time and still go up for that 5th wave. And then all of that would be finish this wave, but then you still got this wave here. So this be 1, 2, and then this whole wave is just creating a 3, you know, and then we're going to correct for a 4 and still go up. So no matter what, all I see is upside to finish this whole wave off. Now we did break that July high, which I was expecting after this correction up. I just didn't think that we were going to come straight up. I mean, there's been no significant correction since this October low, just been straight up. So, I mean, buying up here just gets really tricky. Just, you know, eventually there's going to be a correction. So, I mean, even though I do see more upside, I actually sold. Actually, I sold too early. I sold the day before Powell spoke because I was just wondering if that was going to cause some volatility. So I just, it gets a little hard to be buying like the S&P up here, because I do see at some point you're going to get a bigger correction and then probably still one more up because this has been just so strong. So that's the S&P. Let's move over to Nasdaq. And let me drill in here. So the Nasdaq, you know, we broke that July high, but we broke that way back here at the end of November, actually, on this new contract. Now on the previous contract, it didn't break it quite yet. But now this is the new contract. So we actually broke that back here at the end of November. So going up, there's a big ABC in play going on, as far as I can tell, all the way up here. And then they did make this 3-wave correction. So that on the Nasdaq, they did kind of make a little bigger correction than the S&P, and then it went straight up. So to me, this is just A, B, and C, and then they're not done, because when I break it down and look at the internals of this thing, to me this was a leading diagonal here, and to me this looks like 1, 2, and then 3, and then let me zoom in, and then they made this little ABC. I'd have to drill down to like a 30-minute to really see it. There's the ABC. So I think this 1, 2, 3, I think that's 1. And then this ABC, either that's 2, well, no, it is 2, because they did just break the top. Can you see that? So they broke that 16,885. They just broke it by what, 2.25 points on Friday. So I think this ABC, that was 2. And now I think this is all the third wave. This is part of the third wave up to here. This correct. They could still actually make, I think this is 3 waves up. And they do already have 3 waves down. So they could just continue up to break. And this will all be the third wave, because we need 3 waves for the third wave for this die. Or they could spike it down one more time. There'd be a lot of stop losses sitting here if they wanted. If they wanted to come down here. But if they do come down here and you're not in, and especially for people like me, like I'll buy the Nasdaq down here and go, because then that's a pretty easy trade. Because then they'll be going up for 3, and then you'll get a 4, and then you're still going to go up one more time for the 5. So still more upside in both the indexes. It's just a matter of, are they going to like just push it down a little bit more on the Nasdaq? Because I think this is just like the A wave. That wave is just the A, and this could be the B already, and then maybe this is like 1, and then 2, and then they're going to go for a 3, 4, and a 5, and that would be your 3 wave for 3. So just more upside. And we'll take a look at the Russell. So the Russell is also getting very strong. Now I've been calling for, when we take a look at the bigger picture of the Russell, because this 3 waves was a W and this triangle was X, and then they came down in 3 waves. I mean, in 5 waves. I thought that was a 3, 3, 5. I thought there was still a chance that they would go up 3 and then still one more down before going up. So that is probably not going to happen now. Now they broke the E level, which actually isn't significant. You know, I was thinking that they would do the 3 waves under the E, but if they wanted, they could actually just do a big 3 wave, and then it doesn't matter where that 3 wave ends. So, but given the strength in this, you know, it's just like the other market indexes. So this 5th wave is actually got to be pushed way up here now. This was last week. I haven't updated this chart. So just like the others, I mean, we got 5 waves, and this last wave here looks like it's not complete to me, because there's just a 1, 2, and then you got this little, let me draw this. You got this 1, 2, but then you got this 1, 2. And so I think this is 3, actually it looks like there was a pullback 4, 5, but now you got to come back for this, which I think they're doing right now. So there's at least one more up, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so after that 5 wave move ends, you know, then there should be a pretty decent sized correction before resuming back up. But so I think you still got one more move, at least one more move above 2009. And then that should line up with the other indexes. I mean, they all need a healthy correction. So still more up, but you're just getting really close to that point, especially once they break this E, where I have this labeled as E. You know, that's a place where the market makers are looking, because they know there's a lot of stop losses sitting here. So that's why they'll for sure want to run it up, grab as many stop losses as they can, and then they're going to correct it down before returning up. All right, so those are the 3 stock market indexes. Let me switch over. We'll just do some Forex now. Going to start with the dollar. The dollar, it corrected up. So last week, we were over in this situation where I had these lines drawn, and I said, you know, we were right about, I think it was right, where was it? Yeah, here's Friday. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, so we were right there. Oops. Right in this range. And I said I needed one of these 2 levels to break. I thought they might be in the process of making a leading diagonal, because you had 3 waves for the A and then a 3 wave move for the B, and then just straight up pretty much for the C wave. And I thought if they correct and then go back up and break that high, then you'd be having a diagonal, because then that A would turn into a 1, the B would be a 2, then you have a 1, 2, 3, that'd be 3, you know, and then they'll correct for 4 and then go back up for 5. And I was leaning towards that, because I thought they'd be making a little bigger correction, but obviously they didn't do that. And what's really interesting is they came really close. So let me move this line. So here's where the C was. So at 104,263. And then you can see both of these candles right here. This green candle and that red candle, both of them, the high was 104,262. And I said that the high, the dash line is 104,263. So literally one tick, which I find quite amazing because you can't trade the DXY. You know, it's just a composite of 6 Forex currency pairs. So, you know, it's not like the market makers control the DXY in a straightaway fashion. But yeah, I don't know. I just find that interesting how that can happen. You know, because it's all just, you know, comprised of the euro, the pound, and CAD, yen. But anyway, so what that means then is this drop to here and to here, that was just a 1, and then this is 2, and then they dropped it again. So I think then they started another 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So either this is going to be turning into a running flat. So we're going to have this ABC up to here. This is an ABC. So that's A, B, and then it's going to look like this. So let me get rid of these lines because these lines don't mean anything anymore. So it could be a running flat. Let me clean this up. So if they come up, I would think that they'll come up to like there, if this is going to be a running flat. But if price gets rejected in this area and goes down and breaks the low, then that'll be an impulse. Because then we go back to way over here, and this will be 1, 2. This was all 3. This will be 4, and then they'll come back down for 5. So if price gets above like 102.70, then it's not looking like they're creating an impulse, and then I would expect that the dollar would probably come up into the 103s before then it goes down. All right, so that's on a low level. Well, not low. We're looking at a 4-hour chart, but that's just on this little pattern. But you know, so we'll see what pattern is playing out. But when we zoom out, you know, they're going to be coming down because this is definitely getting too strong. I thought that this was, as I said last week, I thought this was it's an impulse, and then I thought that this was going to be correcting and for one more up before they go down. But now that I look at it, this was a expanding flat, and so they're going to go and break 99.57. It's just a matter of what the pattern is. So I think, you know, especially when we look at the other pairs, they might spike this down one more time before we get a bigger correction and then resume down. But we'll see. So when we move over to the euro, so the euro to me, you know, you got this big move up, came correction right into this zone, and then they almost went and took out that previous high, and then they sold off really hard on Friday. So when we zoom in a little bit, you know, it's just been pretty much straight down, and so I don't think this down move is done. It's too impulsive, and I don't see 5 waves. So, you know, maybe there'll be a little correction, but there's still going to be more down on a short-term basis. And so for me, the only question is, is this, because this was pretty impulsive, and that's why I thought they would just going to correct and still come down one more time to take out that low. because all I really see is they came straight down, little correction, and then one more down. And now you went straight up. And this to me only looks like it's 3 waves. So you got like a little 1, 2, 3, and then a little 1, 2, and a 3, and then straight up. So 1, 2, 3. So that's why I could definitely see this being a 3, 3, 5 correction. So 3, this was 3. Now they don't have to break the low, you know, they could get close, but usually they come and break it to take out some stop losses. So, but I could see definitely the euro pushing down, and then eventually, you know, it's going back up to break that 110 high. So I'd only be looking for buy setups. Just a matter of, you know, where do you want to buy? You know, if you can, wouldn't be bad to just put like a half position on right here, looking to go up, and if it does fall down, you can put your other half down in here somewhere. Pound. So pound did break its previous high. So you know, I've got this leading diagonal coming up. They corrected, shallow correction, and now they broke it, but they only broke it just like in the euro. It only went up in 3 waves. So here's 1, 2, 3. That's 1 wave. 1, 2, 3. You know, so it's like an A, B, and then straight up. So to me, this looks like they could be making a running flat. So we're going to get this look. And so that's why I think the euro has more to drop. Because if this pattern plays out, they'll keep pushing it to about down here, and then they'll go. Oops. And then they'll go up. Sorry. Now they could take this and make an expanding flat, you know, and they could push it down and break that 125 low. But either way, this is not done, because there has to be 5 waves if they, you know, so this, if they do reverse from where they are right now and go up and break that high, then that could be 5 waves, you know, so then this whole thing would be just a 1, 2, and then up here somewhere would be 3. And then I would expect a much bigger correction. And then they'll be making like some kind of diagonal going up. So just like the euro, I'd only be looking for buy setups because there's a lot more upside to go. You know, and again, like if you're not in, you know, putting a half position on right here wouldn't be bad for up. And if it falls, you know, either here or does break it, you know, you could easily put on another half position to be coming back all the way back up. So there's some good trades for the euro and the pound. All right, let's take a look at the CAD. All right, so they did break that C low. So what it looks like to me is that actually the CAD now, dollar CAD, looks like in a position to be going up, because I see ABC contracting a little flat. That C didn't break above the A, and now straight down. So that's a 3, 3, 5. And now CAD is in a position to be coming up, because we had a 5-wave move up. Now, if I'm wrong, then what they're going to do, actually let me clean some of these lines up. If this corrects, so this straight down move, if this just gives a small correction, so first things first, that has to break, because this wave down might not be done yet. But once they do break above 134.03, if they just give a little 3-wave correction and then come down and break 1335, then it's looking more like they're creating a diagonal, because then this 3-wave move, that would be 1, that would be 2, and then this 1, 2, 3, that would be 3. and then you'll be getting a 4 and then a 5. And then they're either making a really big correction or I'm wrong and this wasn't a 5-wave move over here. So we'll know now in this next wave, if it's just a 3-wave correction up and then they break the low, then you know there's a diagonal going on. But for right now, CAD is in a position where, I mean, eventually you're going to get a move up because even if it's going to go down, it's got to give a 3-wave correction and then down. So I'd only be looking for at least a short-term buy. And then obviously once they break that level, 136, once they break that, then you know that this correction is done. And this was a 335. And the yen. And the same thing now with the yen. The yen is in a position where it's going to be going up. So zooming back out, as I've been saying, if you've been following me, this I think is going to be a big running flat. So, you know, they came up. Here's the A wave. This is just the first part of the B wave. So there's your 5-wave move up. Needed a correction, and last week I said they made this ABC right here, but I thought it was just too sharp. I thought they would correct up and then break that low one more time, and that's exactly what they did. So now I think, well, let me move these over because now I see this as being the ABC. That first ABC was just the A wave, corrected up for a B, and now you straight down for the C wave. So I'd only be looking for buy setups for this, and it's in a perfect spot, perfect place. And then we move this line over here. Because this should be coming up, break this 151 level again somewhere. And then, somewhere up here, and then you're going to get that look down and then straight up. Now that's going to take a long time to finish all that out, but I'd only be looking for this buy for this pretty big move, 140 up to something in the 150 range. So that's, I think, a really, really good trade. All right, that's the dollar yen. So that's all the forex pairs that I usually cover. Take a look at the 2-year. And I think the 2-year finished. It's looking good that the 5 waves is in, and now it's just a matter of which zone will they come in. They could rise up to like 451, 465 if they want to make a shallow correction, and then more down. Or they can make a bigger correction and then come, like into the 4.8 range before down. But either way, it's after the 5-wave move, you're going to get a correction and then still more down. So, I think they started the correction up, and it looks to me like, so far, it's actually not really clear. It looks like there was a running flat here. So like up, that was A, that was B, that was C, and now straight up. So it's like a 1, 2, 3. So I could see them, they came down, went up. I could see them, coming down for 3, and then one more up, and then you'd be up in that zone, and then we'll have to wait and see. But I only see this just being, it's going to be a correction for eventually more down. And we could just take a quick look at the 10-year, but the 10-year. All right, so from last week, I haven't looked at this all week. They actually pushed this one down more. Now this one is looking, how did this come down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Is that even deep enough for a correction? No, that's not even deep enough. So the 10-year actually looks like it's not done yet. because it should be 5 waves. It only looks like it's 3. I don't, unless that was 3, that was 4, and that was 5. That was a really small 4. So 10-year might have a little bit more down. This might be all the 4th wave, so they might push that down one more time. But eventually then this 10-year needs to correct upwards, because then you'll have a 5-wave move. And you should get somewhat of a decent bounce before they also resume down. All right. And let's see. We could take a look at this. This is XBI, the biotech ETF. This is Julian showed me this, so I've been tracking this now the last couple of weeks, and it's looking quite interesting. Making a really strong impulse here. And I don't think that this 5th wave is done. I think they got to come out and break that 86.77 level one more time and complete this 5th wave. And then there's going to be a correction, because it's either going to be one of two things. And I think it's going to be just a 3-wave move, because you had this big wave up, this big correction, and then it looks to me like an ending diagonal. So 1, 2, 3 for 1, that was 2, 3, 4, and now 5. You know, because these waves are really small. We're in the beginning, you know, it was a big push up and a big correction, and then it just kind of, you know, it looks like a diagonal to me. So I think this will be 1, 2, or like A, B, and a big C wave. And then I would expect kind of like a bigger correction and then resume back up. So if you want to play this ETF, I wouldn't be playing up here anymore. There's no divergence, so like any correction definitely needs to be bought. But well, there's no divergence on the MACD. Actually, on the RSI, you do have divergence. So I'd only be looking for a pullback on that. Bad reception here for me. I'm still hanging in there. Can everyone else still hear me? Sergey says all fine. Are you good, Julian? Can you hear me? Yeah, the lag is definitely a lot longer this week. Still there, Julian? You know, I'm just rereading Sergey's comment about because of sun flashes. You mean solar flashes? I wonder if there are solar flashes. Maybe it's causing some internet issues. Because I've been having some weird stuff happening to me this morning. Connection wise, I wonder if that maybe is having an impact. I haven't heard of anything, but maybe. Well, we seem to have lost Julian, so. All right, so I'm going to move on. Actually, that is all that I usually want to cover. Let me look. AMD. There was one chart. Was it Apple? No. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is having a problem. Like it didn't break its November high. Made an ABC. NVIDIA is either gearing up for one more drop, like ABC down before it goes, or it's creating just a whole bunch of little like, because here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be that this is 1, 2, and then this is 1, 2. And if that's the case, then NVIDIA is like going to be exploding off here. Because then this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should be just a correction for this first 1, 2 over here. It's going to go up, and then when it breaks that previous top, then it's going to correct again, because then you still got this 1, 2. So it's getting pretty expensive up here. It's getting really tough to buy it. But it could be just gearing up for a whole lot more upside to go break 505. But if it comes and breaks that, this level, well, actually this level. If it breaks that 477, then I think that this is just going to be one more correction. It's somewhere down into this 450 range before they resume up. But if they just keep giving these little corrections, it's just going to keep going until eventually it'll break 505. All right, so that is it for the stock market indexes, the dollar, the forex pairs. Anybody else have any questions? Anything else you're looking at? Anything else you want to discuss? Let me see how many people we have on. 3 people. All right. Actually, no, down to 2. So I think we lost Julian. So I guess just Sergey and DUC. DUC, is that your name, or just initials, or just a made-up name? Oh, Julian's back. All right, VRSSF. Yes, I forgot about that stock. Sergey says gold and WTI. All right, let's do it. First, we'll start with Julian's favorite stock. Not really, but So it got a little boost. Looking pretty scary there last week. So 80 is definitely an important level, and they knew that. Definitely looking a little better this week for you, Julian, that this is a 1, 2, 3 right there. And then this looks to me like a running flat. So came down, leading diagonal, running flat correction, and then down. So that's 1, 2, 3. So they really got to break that 112, because then he's still 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, we'll have to see how they break it, because if it just comes up pretty strong in one move, we still won't know, unfortunately, because that could be this three-wave move. That could be A. This three-wave move was B, and then this is the C wave, and then they're going to come down. But if they could be coming up, oops, when they come up, you know, like so far, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they just gave this. It's kind of ugly. Kind of looks like 5 waves to there. Little 3-wave there, and then a little 3-wave. I think it's just a little contracting flat. A, B, C. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is a 1, 2, 3-wave move. So, you know, if they could just do a 1, 2, 3 and then resume back up, then you're good. But obviously, if this really sells off, then it could be this is a 3-wave move down, and then you just had a 3-wave move up. Could be like 1, 2, and then, you know, if they come really hard, then that's not going to be good, because then they're coming down for the 3, 4, and a 5, and then they'll be taking that low out. So you're still in this limbo land here. But like I said, that's a pretty important level now, 103. Because if they can give a 3-wave correction, looks like you already got 1 wave down, maybe give a correction, 1 more down, take out some stops, and then if they can reverse it again, then I think they'll be coming up, and then we'll have to just watch what that turns out to be. So you're still just stuck in this range. I mean, they've just been in this range for how long? You know, all the way back since August, you know, except for a little spike up and a little spike down. I mean, it's really just, you can even make it just, this is the range. You know, like 112 to like 80. I mean, they've just been bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, going sideways, going nowhere. So hopefully you're going to get a spike up here, get you going. All right, let's move on to, well, we'll start with oil since I can easily get to that. So if you watched my last week video, or even my Wednesday video, I said that I've got this coming down as a diagonal, leading diagonal. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So after a 5-wave move, now you need some type of a correction. And at minimum, I would think oil's going to come up to 74 and could go up to 78. I mean, it could go up to 90. You know, could do whatever it wants. But for correction-wise, it should at least come into this zone. And they got close, but I think this was all just the first wave. So when I zoom in, to me, they just made this 1, 2, and then there was a 1, 2, 3, up here 4 and a 5. So just a 3-wave move, but very impulsive, so very strong. So I don't think that 3-wave move to 72 would be all the correction. There was no divergence. It just got overbought. And so far, I just see a perfect 3-wave move down, and then got really strong again. So, we got 3 waves up and 3 waves down. So, if we zoom back out, if it comes up, so far you got like a little 1, 2. I could definitely see them like giving you like some type of 5-wave move up, and we'll have to see if that's all the correction. Because I mean, this is pretty for that long of a move down. I don't expect them to like just like 2 weeks go up and then spike it back down. I could see them kind of hanging out in this range for a while. So I'm in the buy. I bought down at 68.70. Now, when they do break above 72.42, then I'm really going to be watching, because it could be, like I said, that they're going to make a really big correction. So like a 3, 3, 5, and that'll just be the A wave. And then they'll give you a 3-wave correction down for the B, and then give you a 5-wave move up for the C wave, and that would look much better to me. That would take up some more time correcting this big move down and getting into this range. So, it's a tough place right now if you're not already in the buy, because they could just be finishing the A wave and come up, break 72.42, maybe just up to, I don't know, in the 73 range. And then you'll get a B wave, and the B wave could go way down, but I would expect it just to kind of hang out. I think they'll be hanging out in this range, 70 to 73, kind of correcting, and then eventually they'll get back up into this 74-ish, 75 range. And then at that point, then you got to be careful, because that could be all the correction, and they're going to come down. But I do see one more wave down after this correction. And let's look at gold. Yeah, so when I made my video on Wednesday, we were down here, and I've been looking for this to be turning into a running flat, but they still could. It's getting more doubtful, because the pattern that I was seeing, because this only went up in 3 waves, and you came down here in 3 waves, A, B, C. So after this 5-wave move up, now they need a correction. I think this is ABC. That's why I thought this was going to be ABC. And then we need a C wave. And so we need a strong 5-wave move, and it was looking really good. But I wanted them to come down to like at least 1940, come down into this range, because that just doesn't look. I mean, it could be. That could be this. That doesn't look like a C wave, because when I drill in, all I see is 3 waves. Here's 1 wave, here's 1 wave, and then down. So that's just a 3-wave move. So, I mean, unless they're going to come down in a diagonal. So if they come and break this low that they set last Wednesday, this 1972, if they do break that again, then they could be still making this diagonal. So I'm going to go out to a daily. So then they could be targeting this range. But given that strong move up, it might be, instead of what I think is going to be a running flat, it could be after this 5-wave move and then 3 down. They could just be making like a 1, 2. They're going to make an ending diagonal over here. So this is 1. This 3-wave move was 2. Then they'll go up strong for 3, and then 4, and then 5. 5 will be like way up here though, and 3 will be up higher. But you get the idea. But it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then this whole move will be a big 1, 2, 3, which means they're going to be making a big diagonal here, because this whole move 1, 2, that'll just be 1. Then you get a correction down for 2 and then back up for 3. But that's months, if not a year away. So we got to wait and see. Obviously, if they never come back down and break 1972, then I think that's the play. That it's just going to be going up, giving correction, just working its way up. But if it does, they did sell off. Oops, let me zoom in. They did sell off pretty hard Friday, but it's still just a 3-wave correction down. So not unless they keep pushing it down, then I think this is going up in a diagonal. So I'd only be looking for buy setups. I guess that should just be the moral of the story. Just look for buy setups in gold. If you're lucky, you could get it down here, but this might actually be a tempting place, because they might just keep pushing it up and going up in a diagonal format. But I'd only be looking for upside. And then especially when you look at silver, like I said in the Wednesday video, it came down to that. Actually, they went a little bit further than I even saw. But I think this is just a perfect running flat. So here was the ABC for A, ABC up for B, and then straight down. And I thought gold was going to do this straight down move, and then go up. So silver is, I think, like, hate to say like screaming by, but pretty darn close, because that's the only pattern that I see. I don't, because this only finished up in 3 waves here. This to me looks like A, B, and this was a C wave move. I can't see this being. This was an impulse. Now they're going to make a correction, and then like they're coming down to break 20. Like I don't see that pattern. So I'd definitely be looking only for a buy setup. I mean, even right here is just a good place. Now I will say, I do think your stop loss has to be that level, 22.49. Because if they break that, then I think I'm wrong. Because that shouldn't break if it's going to be a running flat. Well, it can't break if it's going to be a running flat. So that wouldn't actually be horrible, because you're buying this to go break 26. So buying anywhere in this 23 range is really good if your stop loss is going to be right there. Oh, sorry, I just missed all these messages. Can we have a look at nat gas? What will be the target for the next down wave? The money is rotating. Also, we could have a look at carry XLF. Stocks also. And then Sergey retracted messages. Any thoughts on what other sectors would benefit from lower interest rates? Any thoughts on what other sectors benefit from? Well, obviously the Russell is going to be loving it, but that's still the Fed's not going to be cutting. At least, I mean, I don't see it happening in the first quarter, so it wouldn't happen for the second quarter. So, I mean, obviously stocks are going to try to front run it in anticipation of the cut, but if you actually look at, I think it's like something like the last 6 rate hike cycles, when they start cutting, stocks actually do bad. Now, I don't know if that is all stocks or if that's just the big tech, or the bigger S&P and Nasdaq companies, because all of a sudden their margins take a hit. So I don't know if the rate cuts also affects the Russell. I would think that helps the Russell, but it might. But I definitely know that the S&P and Nasdaq during the last 6 rate cut cycles, they actually went down. So yeah, I could definitely see a rotation into the Russell at that time then. Sergey, what if from October 23rd, gold did 4 waves of impulse, so the last 5th wave remained? Well, let's take a look. What if from the October 23rd, gold did 4 waves of impulse? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah, interesting. I see what you're saying. One, two, three, that's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh. All of a sudden I'm seeing something different here. Sergey, you might have something here, my friend. Let's take a look at this. All right, 1, 2. Did that break? All right, so it's not an impulse. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 down. So this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, when I go down to the 4 hour, then it looks like a diagonal to me. So it looks to me like this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is leading diagonal 2. Oh, shoot, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, that's what I saw. 1, 2, then you got this is all 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to look at that when I get off of this. So I'm going to look at this more closely. I'm going to write myself a note here. You could be onto something. Because if this is 3 waves, then you're right. Then that would be 1. If this is 3 waves, that's 2. I'd have to really zoom in on this. Maybe something like this is the biggest correction right here. Maybe that's 1, 2, and then 3. And then this is 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, let me look into that. That's a good point. That could be. Then this will be, working its way up in a 3-wave pattern to complete the 5th wave. Oops. Complete that 5th wave. So the key is this wave right here. What I think is a running flat might be, if it's a 3-wave, then you're going to be right. So either pattern is there's more up. That's all that I see. Gerald, awesome. Thanks for joining. Just depends on what stock you invest in with the rates are. It's mostly increased with real estate interest. It's different. Yeah, I definitely agree on it depends on what stock you invest in for sure. Depending on the rates it's mostly increased with real estate interest. It's different. Can you just rephrase that last part? It's mostly increased with real estate interest. It's different. Just not sure what you're trying to get at. Definitely agree with you on it depends on the stock that you invest in part. I agree with that 100%. because of everything. Because of everything, ones are different strategy. Because of everything. Sorry, Gerald. I'm trying to understand. I want to understand what you're saying. Because of everything, ones are different strategies. I mean, I guess if you're just saying because it's just based on everything that's going on in the economy and everything, that you got to have a different strategy based on each stock, each sector. If you're saying that, then I'm in total agreement with you. All right, Julian says, take a look at stocks. Let me go out to a daily. All right, so they broke. Yes, Gerald. Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, definitely you have to have strategy based on like what sector, what group of stocks you're trading. Yeah, because I could definitely see, like I was showing before. This is why I wanted to show like Nvidia. You know, like there's it just seems like there's just a slight rotation now out of big tech. You know, so let me look at the Nasdaq. You know, so here, actually, I gotta go to the continuous chart. So this is the futures continuous chart. And here was the July high. So we busted out of that. So, you know, this is making a, I'm still actually not sure what this pattern is. They might be making a really big diagonal, but I'll be showing that in a future video. But anyway, I just wanted, like the Nasdaq, you know, so Nasdaq, S&P, they broke their July highs. So that's the index itself. But then when you look at big tech, so here's Nvidia, and where's July? Oh, actually July. Yeah, Nvidia actually, but so July, they were over here, 480. You know, Nvidia made their new high back in November, but Nvidia couldn't break their November high, even with this strong rally in the Nasdaq and in the S&P, and they're making yearly highs on the index, but Nvidia's not. Microsoft isn't. I know Apple. Oh no, Apple did. Apple did. Google. I know Google did. Yeah, Google's high was back in October. You know, so it just seems to me like big tech is just, it's not falling off of a cliff, obviously, and I wouldn't go too far away from these guys. But, you know, there's, you know, like I've been following AMD lately. I wish I would have gotten in down here. I unfortunately only got in over here. But, you know, so AMD is definitely busted out of its June high. You know, so there's other companies besides the Magnificent Seven that seem to be more in favor. And you know, then when you look at the Russell, I mean, it's gone crazy. So yeah, it definitely seems like there's just a slight pause with big tech, and everyone else is catching up. All right, but I want to look at stocks for Julian. So let's go out to a daily. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, so stocks to me looks, And this is kind of what I feel like actually for all the indexes. I feel like you had that monster move. You know, this is all the way back March of 20. Then this was correction. Then and to me, this looks like you got some kind of like a leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks, because that didn't end in 5 ways. So it looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but like in a diagonal, it doesn't matter. 5-wave move up. Here was the correction, and now up. And I don't think this was deep. Oops, wrong one. I don't think that was deep enough. Nah, not really. It only came down to 382. So what I feel like when I look at this chart, and when I look at a lot of the charts, I feel like there's going to be a big running flat created here. So this whole move, 1, 2, yeah. Oh, I think this is ABC, because this is what I see on a lot of charts. ABC down, and to me this looks like A, B, and C. Now it might not be done. They might push this up a little bit higher. But if that's ABC and this is ABC, I could see actually like a strong sell-off if they're going to create this pattern, a running flat pattern. And then resume up. And I see this on quite a few charts. But the only problem is it's like, what is going to, I mean, like the market just, besides the fact that a lot of stocks are very expensive when it comes to all the price to earnings and all that kind of stuff, you know, they're just expensive, but this would have to be like a really sharp 5-wave move down. And it's like, boy, what is going to make it sell off that hard, that quick? So, but anyway, that's just one pattern that I'm kind of looking at on a lot of charts, is that there should be a sell-off, but it just seems really hard to imagine that's going to happen. But anyway, this won't be done because this last wave needs to be 5 waves, and there's only 3. So at a minimum, it needs to correct and still go back up. So just like everything else, Nasdaq, S&P, you know, there's still just more upside. So it can't end where it is right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5 ways, correct. Yeah, it's got more, but I could definitely, you know, so maybe it corrects and then it comes flying up one more time early next year, and then things are just kind of so overbought and so elevated that you just get, you know, some kind of a sell-off. But it'd be a running flat most likely then. So still more up, just like everything else. Sergey, on TW, there is NFCI index. It's handy to review and use it on markets. Haven't heard of it. NFCI. Oh, the Chicago Fed financial conditions. Oops. Intervals less than weekly are not supported. No. Can only use the weekly on this chart. It's handy to review and use it on markets. Financial conditions. So as long as it's above 0, conditions are good, and when you're negative, financial conditions are bad? Seems like financial conditions are... I wonder what it measures. Do you know what it measures? If I apply just wave analysis, I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, looks like a 1, 2, 3, and then down. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This needs to come down one more then. Because you got 1, 2, should be a 3, 4, 5, and then still more down. So using wave analysis, this thing's gonna come down and break this 0.7 level, at least. Probably will even come down and break 0.8, negative 0.8. Yeah, I don't know anything about this, what it's measuring. Seems like it's been down below zero for quite a long time. Like going back to the 80s. So do you use this, or does it? How do you use it? You know, like what's an indicator or a level or something that you watch? Is it just a zero level? Julian, what would be a good buy setup on XBI? Well, I mean, I definitely see one more up to break the 86.77 level. But like, you know, you're buying just for, if you buy right here, you're only buying for like a dollar move, because at any point, I mean, they could, this last wave here, I mean, you know, they can send it up to 90, but they could also just break this 86.77 level and then correct, because like I said, I think, just given the look of it, I think this is A, B, and then this is all ending diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now they're gonna finish 5. So, like, I don't know if you can see, but I actually have an alert set right here. So if XBI comes and breaks 84.67, I'm gonna buy for one more up. I'll buy somewhere underneath 84.67, but I'm not gonna buy right here. So I'll ride this up from down here to go up. Oops, the other way around. I'll buy from down there to go one more up, but I'm not gonna buy from right here. Because like I said, at any moment above 86.77, they can give a really big correction down, and you'll be able to buy much lower, because I think I already showed you the main pattern that I see is from this May 22 low, you had ABC, then you had a really big ABC. And so I would want to see 5 waves up, ideally to break 95. Then you would have a big, you either have the start of a leading diagonal, or this is all going to be correction for one more down. But either way, I'm only looking for buy setups, because this was pretty impulsive. So I could see this being all correction for one more down to break 61. So that's the big picture. But you know, when we're just looking at, so I'm looking at, I need 5 waves, and that's why I think this could be the start of a leading diagonal. So this be AB, and this is going to be C, and that'll all be just the first wave, and then you're going to get probably a pretty big correction for 2, and then resume back up for 3, 4, and 5. And that's why I said, you know, at least at a minimum, this 5-wave move will be going up to 90 at least. Probably, you know, and very could likely break 95. So, you know, it's just a timing game right now. Like, you really needed to be buying down here, because then you can just hold it until it gets up into the 90s. But when you get up here, you know, it just be no fun. You buy here, even though you think it's going up to 90, to watch it just go up and then give a big correction. Like that's no fun holding that for weeks or months. So, like I said, if it does come down and break 84, what did I say? 84.67, then I'm gonna look and I'll participate in that last wave up. Otherwise, I'm gonna wait for this big correction to happen, and then you'll be in a really good spot, because then you could buy that and probably hold it for weeks, if not months. Oh, Sergey, NFCI need to impose on S&P, and you can understand. Oh, let me. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. It doesn't seem to be working for me. Oh, maybe is it just this is going up, and so the market does bad. When this comes down, the market does good. One, two, three, one. Yeah, looks like it's still, this indicator still has more down to go, which would make sense because I still see a little bit more up in the market. Because it went up in 3 waves. So I'm just applying wave analysis. That's all I do. 1, 2, 3. And now you got 1, 2, and it looks like there's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it's, yeah, there are 5 waves. Or 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, so it's getting near the end. Interesting. If I take that off. Yeah. All right. Turn that. Can't even turn it off. Negative range is good for markets. Yeah, positive is bad. If roughly continuous contract is better. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, definitely need to. Oh yeah, much better. If this is like anything else, though, you know, mean reversion, you know, like here was a pretty big gap, you know, and then they came in line, and now you're getting a pretty big gap here. So at some point, this should be reverting back to the mean. But, you know, this was a pretty big, of course, this had to be, yeah, this was 2020. So that's kind of a odd event. Interesting. Thanks for pointing that out. Let me see how many people we have here. Oh, 4 people. Excellent. Now, if anyone has anything they want to add, or something you want to look at, let's take a look. Let me know. Even though when I look at YouTube Studio, it still says that there's a playback error. So I'm glad you guys are able to see my chart. I'm not sure what the error is. Can't get this thing off now. Yeah, there we go. Oh, net gas. Yeah. So if you guys are following along in my Discord channel, I said that there's a chance that net gas made this correction. I'm looking at net gas, the futures contract. It's actually a little easier when I switch over to this natural gas CFD. But this could be, they're making a diagonal. So this was 1, 2, 3. That was one wave. 1, 2, 3, that's 2. I've got this as a running flat in here. Like they came down, running flat, and then down really aggressively. Like a really strong C wave. And then I said if they come up into this zone, which they have now, and then they started to really sell off on Friday, it could be that we're coming down now for the 5th wave. And they'll not only break that low, but they'll break that 206 level on this chart. On the futures contract, it's like 196. Let's see. Well, the all-time low was 104. No, not. Where did it go? Oh no, I gotta turn this off. Yeah. So on the futures contract, the April low was 1946. So we're in a position to take that out now. So that's the only question. So I've already opened up a short on natural gas. And like I said before, if I'm wrong, then there is the potential that this is one. Well, my original count, I had this. Let me start over. That I had this as 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why I wanted like a 5th wave to end here, give a correction, and then work its all way down and break the low. Obviously, they didn't do that. So, I mean, not unless it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is just a monster 5th wave, unlike I've ever seen before, which could be. But if that's the case, even if they like do this and then do this and then do this, and that's just A, and then they give a B, and then they come back up for a C, and we're up here, like I don't care, because then that gas is going down like to 1.5. So the bigger they make this correction, then the more net gas is going to fall. Because like I said, it's got to come and take out 206. And I'm sure that on this chart, this CFD, not on futures, on this chart, it's 206. On the futures, 196 or 194. So I think they're in a position that they could just be coming to take out the low in just one straight shot. I thought they'd be coming in like a typical 5-wave pattern, something like that. But I think it's just going to be just straight down for that 5th wave. And then going to have the biggest bull market in nat gas for many years to come. So when I drill in, now the one thing that I do see, that there's no divergence on this whole move up. And so I've got it, actually I gotta look over here. Oh, I thought I had this labeled. Oh, I saw three moves. Where was it? Oh yeah. This was 1, 2, and then I think they made an ending diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C. Now, because there's no divergence, I could also see them coming down into here, and they already are here. Give a correction, and then still one more up, and then the big fall happens. Either way, though, I'm not going to be getting out of this sell for natural gas. So nat gas, I could see them coming up one more time and breaking 2544, but I think that it's still then just part of the correction, and down we go. But I'd only be looking for sell setups. Julie, I'm curious how the wave pattern can play out. Yep, just showed that your subscribers that aren't on your Discord channel are missing out so much. I think they should join the Discord channel too. Yes, they should. Never know what you might find out. Sergey, on commodities, fifth waves are usually extended. Yeah, they are. But I mean that's like a crazy extended fifth wave. You know, if this is 1 and that's 2 and that's 3 and that's 4. I mean, look at the distance. You know, the distance it took to do those waves compared, like that's. But you know, like you said, I mean, fifth wave is. So we'll find out. We might even find out this week just what the pattern is. Because like I said, if I could definitely see them coming back up one more time, just because this was so strong from that low. I could see, you know, so maybe they come up, drop, go back up, and then get rejected, and then they start working their way down. If it looks like this, then I think that a diagonal is in play, and they're going down for the fifth wave, final wave. But if they come back up and then they just give a correction and then up, you know, and they're correct, then this could be this super extended leading diagonal, and then you're going to get a correction and then still more up. So like I said before, I think if they come up above 255, you know, something like above 26, then this could be just a really, they're gonna, you know, it's like this could all just be 1, 2, 3. That's 1, and then maybe this is 2, and then they come up in 3 ways for 3. Do that for 4, and then another 3 ways up for 5. You know, so if we have that kind of look, then you got a leading diagonal, correction, and then still more up. So, like I said, I think this week we'll have an answer, because if they, let's say they do, well, they already came down, they should correct and go down, because then you have a 1, 2, 3. This just looks like one wave down so far. Now, if they then reverse it and break that high, but then they come and break wherever this low is, you know, let's say it's right here. If they were to then come and break that low, that'll be the key that this is the ABC, and then we're probably going down. So we'll see, and I think that's why I think probably midweek, late week, we'll have a better idea if they're creating a really big correction and then up for more down, or that this either that could be the high, or they might just break above it one more time, get into 2.5s, and then send it downwards. So we'll just watch it wave by wave as usual. The downslope is really steep on nat gas. Perhaps a straight down makes sense after all, since the market is going straight up. Yeah, I usually don't correlate nat gas and the stock market. So, you know, they're just two different assets. Each got a different different structure. Where can I find Discord? Let me see if I can get that. Invite people. Can you see this? I know sometimes people can't add links in a YouTube chat, but I think I should be able to send it out. You see that link? So Jay, are you subscribed to my YouTube? I know that I put it in my last commodity video, the Discord link. Maybe you just didn't get a chance to watch it if you are subscribed, but if you're not, you might want to subscribe to the YouTube channel too. Yes, thanks. All right, good. All right, 3 people, so we lost 1 person, so someone's got bored. Any other questions? What is my trade win to lose ratio? For this year, and this year was probably, I would have to go back. I think it was my best year. I was at 66% wins. But it's not really so much the ratio. You know, it's got to be your risk management. Alrighty, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna go get some lunch here. Unless there's any final questions. Now I see there's only 2 viewers on, so I think it's just you, Sergey, and Emerald. I see risk management, another thing we can discuss in the Discord channel. Risk management is the #1 thing people don't understand. You can win 40% of your trades if you have proper risk management and still be a profitable trader. Just like you could win 70 or 80% of your trades and not be profitable. If you have proper risk management, it controls everything. Bon appetit. Sounds good, Sergey. We'll see you around. Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm going to get going here. I appreciate you joining. It's been a lot of fun. It's been nice to see some additional people joining in. I will be seeing you guys during the week. I'll do the commodity video on Wednesday. So until then, good luck. Hopefully I see you in the Discord. And talk to you guys later. See you guys.